Okay, so it says
Will now be recorded.
And Wayne, you can pipe in, but this is what Nora sent over in regards to expectations of what the steering committee is and what the members can expect. It says steering committee members should be knowledgeable about the community and committed to its future success. It is expected that the committee will meet 4 times in the project's 7 to 8 month timeline. Meetings will be 1 to 2 hours long, and committee members will be expected to offer input and feedback from their organization's perspectives. Draft materials will be provided ahead of the meetings, and committee members should review the draft materials and come to the meetings with critical feedback to be discussed with the group. Here is the general outline of what meetings could look like. Meeting number 1, general orientation. Develop overarching goals for the master plan. Discuss community engagement plan. Meeting number 2, discuss initial findings from phase 1 of community engagement plan. Public meeting number 1. Steering committee number 3, visioning session for a proposed development alternatives, developing a preferred alternative, develop goals and strategies and implementation measures, excuse me. Meeting number 4, discuss public feedback and refine the preferred alternative, finalize goals and strategies and implementation measures again. Committee members will also be expected to help publicize the planning effort and leverage their existing networks to get out the word about surveys and public events. This includes sending out emails, posting on social media, and reaching out in other forms to get the public involved. So that's kind of an outline of what we are looking for. Wayne, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think that.
I think
my only is try to get this started. Get the group. I would say I'm getting. I'll try to stay quiet.
Okay. I think they also had recommended that our committee should be 5 to 7 people was the ideal number. And I think from the consensus of the last meeting, Mr. Bancroft and Commissioner Hardy was that a majority of those members need to reside in the town of Ennis, within the city limits. So I don't know if we want to decide how many members we want to go through first. I know Ginger put out these nice spreadsheets. I was kind of curious how many of these folks have actually been reached out to. Because I called a couple of them just before the meeting and they didn't know anything about it.
So just on that note, let's just say there's 6 members on that committee. My feeling is there's a lot of people in town. Maybe that criteria should be at least 3 of them that do not have to reside in the city limits. It seems like there's so many people that have a lot of skin in the town, but they may not live in the city limits or just outside the city limits, right? I think it brings a little more diversity to that table. And also, again, a lot of these people have a lot of interest in town, and I almost think there should be 1 or 2 on the city council that should
don't reside in city limits?
Excuse me?
That don't live in city limits, they live without?
I think that's something that should be considered.
Well, that's state statute, and that's how local governments, that's not decided by the town, that's decided by state statute. And that's how
However, it does also say in there that you can have a city council member that does not live in the city limits, but their vote doesn't count.
Yeah.
But if you have them on the council and not have a vote, what's the point of having them there?
Exactly, so that makes no sense. And if you dig into that, I think that's what we find on that. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to look at our charter, but I think for tonight's purposes, we can look at, the recommendation was 5 or 7 people from Cushing Terrell. And then we had a list of folks that have been contacted that would be interested, because I reached out to a couple folks and that were like, nope, I just don't have the time. So I think it's whoever is, so I think that was kind of my question on the.
Is this something that's been, I'm sorry, is this something that's been in the works for a while, or is it something new? The steering agenda, is it something like
2
proposed?
months.
Not even, I mean, we just selected Cushing Terrell, and then I think this spreadsheet came out at the beginning of the month. We discussed it at our February meeting, I believe, and then
Yes.
it was, at the beginning of, and then at our last meeting, it was the commissioners would submit names, reach out to those people for the steering committee, because this is just a small group, and then there's gonna be lots of public engagement. So these folks are basically, they're gonna take the temperature and engage with the folks and then kind of report back and work with Cushing Terrell on distilling all of that public information down.
Okay, so maybe I'm just confused, but isn't that kind of your job as a commissioner? to
Not for this
get
project.
Public knowledge?
Nope, this is, this is for the Ennis master plan. So for that, so we wanted to be independent and have a steering, so basically the steering committee works with the public. We'll engage in those meetings too, as members of the public. And then the steering committee takes it on. It's kind of like when the growth policy happened too, several years ago. There was a steering committee, and then work with the public. The steering committee works with Cushing Terrell and everything, and then as the commission, we adopt the master plan once that's presented by the steering committee and move into that. So they make a recommendation is essentially what happens. So.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So the first thing we need to decide is it gonna be 5 or 7 members? What is, John, what are your thoughts on that, 5 or 7?
Yeah, I would love to see it be that, but I really don't envision many Ennis locals jumping on board.
Okay, but
I do appreciate everyone who lives outside of town participating. That's great. And I would love to see, a fair amount of Ennis residents be on it. But that will only come with who's going to volunteer to be on these committees.
Well, and I think
You know?
I think that's what we're trying to figure out of,
But see,
on this
I think
list.
it's very difficult to say, we need 7 people and you might only get 1 from Ennis. If that be the case, that's fine.
I don't think that that's true. I think we have names of people that if Christie, the names that Christie talked with and the names that Jason talked with, did he talk with them or did he just put their name on the list?
He never let me know whether he spoke with them
Yeah,
or
okay.
not. Now, Anthony Treglia from
Uh-huh.
Lorien
Uh-huh.
called in
Oh, okay,
and said, yes, by all means, he is interested.
okay.
Mr., is it Rob? Christie spoke with him from
Okay.
police,
Okay,
and she indicated that he was willing.
okay,
But they said that's the only ones that have
gotcha.
had direct
Contact
contact
with. And I know that,
Mr. Road was through Christie.
yeah, and I think Christie also mentioned Chris Murphy. I talked with Mr. Murphy too. He seemed to be interested.
Yes.
Chelsea Mosman said that she did not have the time. Keith Brown Eyes said he would be willing to serve, and so did Darcy Scrignoli. I guess.
And this is Corey Hardy. I have both Kurt Graydon and Arden Detweiler. I have confirmed with both of those individuals.
Okay,
That's right. Sorry, Corey. Thank you.
so Kurt Graydon, okay, so we have Jerry, Kurt, And you said Arden,
And Anthony.
one,
Above
and
Arden.
Anthony, 1, 2, 3, 4,
I've got
5,
7 marked
6,
here.
7.
So back to the original question, let's get back to the first question. Are we gonna look for 5 or do we want 7? I think the more we have, the
I
better.
think the more, that's more than okay with me too.
If you
And then
want-
you wanted to, wait, are you on this list too?
Yeah. If-
No, there you are, I'm sorry. So we have 8.
If that criteria changes for folks outside the city limits, I think you have a better chance of obtaining 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And we don't have a problem with having people outside of town, we just don't want the directed wholly by people outside of town. We wanted the majority of them in town, and then
Well, then maybe that criteria needs to be your business owner in town, or, you know, you have interest in other ways in the town.
Yeah, because we're not discrediting people as far as that goes. We just want to make sure we have enough people that are actually going to be on here, so we're going after the people that we knew, obviously.
And a wide net of perspectives too.
Kyle was another one at the lumberyard I talked to, he seemed interested, I don't know if he's
Oh.
on that list.
Kyle?
Kyle.
I would point out,
And I would point out
Oh.
a question.
Go ahead, Wayne.
hey, I would point out that the steering committee, I think it's important that you get a broad view of folks, but you also get people that are interested in that. So if you want to move it to 9, that's fine. I think it gets unwieldy. Yeah, but 9 people are on there. 7 showed up. That would be great. So I wouldn't get hung up on doing 5 to 7. If you want to move it up to 9, maybe not go any more than that. But if you've got really interested folks, that's more critical than anything, is getting the buy-in and folks that really want to participate in the leadership of this thing.
John?
Young lady, I know, you have different meetings downtown at the movie theater, and you're
Let's stay on
discussing, I realize that. But I think if you have another meeting, you might want to bring up what you learned here tonight of what we need, and see if you can get volunteers from your audience to, show signs that, yes, we would like to partake in it, and give Ginger this of the names. That would be a big help.
Yeah. We're choosing tonight so the process can get started. So that's the goal of this meeting tonight, is to choose it, because Mr. Freeman and his group are waiting on us to choose the steering committee, because then the steering committee takes it and go on.
But your point's taken too, because they can still be part of the whole, anyone that wants to be part of this can be part of it. We just need a set group of people that are going to steer it and get it going. And then the community members are all invited to come in and put their input into it.
Yeah.
So, so we've got 8 people on this list here. Do we just put all 8 of them on there?
Well, let's see. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Because then anyone that wants to be involved in this can come in. Mike, are you interested on being? Okay.
No, I
Okay,
think
I'm
we
just
have
making
9.
sure.
I don't
Just
think
because
we
nobody I really
You
talked
don't
to.
see my beautiful face too much.
Lot.
And then the schedule of these 4 meetings in that 7 to 8 month window, are they set? Obviously, they're set up so that information received before.
Yeah, and then you'll have time
the
to
city
review.
council deal happens.
Yeah.
Because they seem, obviously, less meetings than city council once a month, right?
Yeah, so this project is designed, and maybe Wayne, you can walk us through the project and the timeline.
Sure, I can do it just broadly.
Just 1 second, please. Can you mute us so we can, you're coming in and out. We're going to have her mute us right quick so you don't come in and out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember.
Just go down to the microphone can you go right there?
How's that? Sounds good. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So I'll just go over this broadly, general process. So we've been working. We've got some website material set up and ready to go, ready to launch. We don't want to do anything without the steering committee established, but we've been working on some logos and some background information, just getting ready. We've looked at the community. Obviously, most of us know the community intimately. And the next phase of this is to have a kickoff. I think it was read what we're going to do. So I would assume that you're going to have a committee meeting about once every month and a half through this process. We'll go in this first phase of a fact-finding mission. Typically, some of the things that we'll talk, particularly to the committee about, is what are the important things that are out there, just like we ask you at our citywide kickoff meeting, and really try to drill down a little bit further as to what are some of the accomplishments, what are some of the hurdles that exist in the community. And then we'll move on to identifying some of the bigger picture items that we see as that were brought up during the discussions. The next part of that is going out to the community, and you guys have been talking about that. That's exactly right. We want as many people in the community to be a part of this process as possible. So what we've tailored in your project is we're coming hopefully to the end of this pandemic period where we might actually get to be able to get out in the community and have some meetings. But prior to that, we'll be doing individual discussions with folks, seeking out people to actually leaders in the community to interview. We will have again, our website will be posted, and we'll be doing some surveys within the community, trying to get the word out. The other thing that's on the list, if you go down the spreadsheet that was out there, you'll see that we're going to try to get some words out to or some messages out to the free press, letting them know what you're doing, letting everybody know that this is a project and that we're trying to get as much input as possible. So we'll be trying to tackle it from a number of different vantage points, where people can get online and talk. They can come to hopefully meetings towards the middle of summer maybe, and see what's going on. So the initial phase is a fact-finding, gathering process where we're getting input from the public. We're understanding what the issues are, and we're trying to drill down on that. We'll come back to the committee, and if you'd like, we'll be presenting and keeping the council up to date as to what we're doing, coming back with some of those fact-finding issues. Next stage is basically drilling down on some of the findings that we've had. What are some of the issues that we want to go forward with? What are the issues that we want to make front and center? What are the improvements that we see as needs? And those things may range from, looking at physical improvements, streetscape issues, walkability issues, mobility issues. What are some of the growth issues that are hitting you? And then try to workshop. We'll go into a few workshops where we're actually trying to get that data and flush that data out, flush those issues out, or what are the best things that could be recommended to the overall master planning process as a part of that initial process. Then we'll go into what I would call a revision session, where we've made some recommendations, where we've been helped by the community, by the steering committee, and by some of the leadership within the community, where we've whatever it is that we've come up with for recommendations that that might include land use planning. And again, those going back to those physical projects will then come out. How do you do this? How do you bring all this together? What is really important? Flush those items out and let the community rank things. Go back to a survey condition, and all the while we've got our website out there and constantly updating that with new information. And then ultimately 8 months from now or 7 months from now, making some recommendations to the council. Intermittent in there, you've had probably as many as 4 to 5 public meetings. You've had a number of opportunities to listen in, to provide input, to provide feedback, to say, I really don't like this. And then ultimately, the idea is to encapsulate that into a master plan that you can look at, can comment on. We come back and we modify that, and theoretically, if everything goes right, we've got a master plan that hopefully you can approve, towards the end of the year. So that's babbling a lot. There's a lot that goes into this. And again, the first thing that we need is we need a steering committee that can help us guide us along the way and be that spokesperson or spokes group that are from Ennis and telling us what and guiding us down that path.
Hey, go ahead and unmute us. Okay. Awesome, thanks, Wayne. Anyone have any questions with that? Explain it pretty well. So I think we'd go with the 8 names that we've got marked here. Does anyone have
We've
any?
got 9.
And can I read you what I got so I make sure that I got the right
Oh,
names?
yeah, so we have, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Lisa, and I'll mark off on my sheet.
Okay, so Jerry, is it Rogie?
Yeah, okay.
Kyle Marsh,
Okay,
Kurt Drayton.
Yep.
Michael Casey,
yes,
Anthony Treglia,
yes,
Arden Detweiler,
yes,
Chris Murphy,
yes,
Keith Brown Eyes,
yes,
and Darcy Scrignoli.
yes. Okay, just wanted to make sure because we were throwing a lot of names there.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of names flying, so.
And that gives enough if someone doesn't show up or are unable,
Yeah.
but it gives enough that we can keep the process moving the entire time. I like the idea with that. Corey, do you have any objection to any of the names that you heard there?
Nope, I think that sounds great.
You want to go through those guys, Wayne?
Yeah.
John, you feel good with the?
Yeah, no, everything's nice.
Okay, looks like we've got it. What do you need, Ginger? Do you need anything from?
I'm just gonna tell Wayne something.
Okay.
I can't do it if I don't have a mic on. Wayne, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you on these sheets, I believe I sent it to you along with the email to the commissioners. I will complete getting email addresses and phone numbers for you guys to fill in the blanks on this. Thank you.
Okay, 'cause you got Mike right there. He can get you hooked up. And then it looks like just the 3 on the bottom. Is that right? These 3 down here. You don't think about everything else there, but.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, they're gonna want, like on the waste management, the public safety, getting
Oh, okay.
emails and further phone numbers for those individuals.
Okay, that looks like that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Where can I go to look at the master plan? Can you?
They're building the master plan
That's
right
what
now.
we're
That's
doing
what this
right
is
now.
for.
That's what the steering committee, so, and Cushing Terrell is in the process of designing a website. So you'll start seeing advertisements and stuff like that, that this process is going on and how you can get involved and stuff like that. So we don't have a master plan,
Right,
so that's what
right.
this project is to develop one.
Okay, so we're paying that company to.
Yeah, and basically facilitate the public meeting, take all the public information, and then distill it into a document that's usable for the community, like a roadmap. So no matter who's in these seats, you know, we have a roadmap of where we're going instead, you know, so it doesn't matter who's driving, we know where we're going.
This is typical, so other towns use the same.
Yep, exactly. And how this came about was, so there was grants through Big Sky Trust Fund, which is through the Department of Commerce, and there's Montana Main Street, and then the town of Ennis. We are only paying 25% of the cost. The other cost was covered by grants that we applied for.
And who is that from?
It was the Big Sky Trust Fund and Montana Main Street. So, which I don't know if Big Sky Trust Fund is a part of the Department of Commerce or something else, but Montana Main Street is obviously a part of Montana State Department of Commerce. So yeah, and that was helped, Headwaters, Economic, RC&D out of Butte, they helped us too. And so, yeah, this is a really good planning tools for communities like ours. So probably something we should have done, 20 years ago, but, that's where our growth, they did do, and they'll probably lean on to the growth policy that was done in 2014. That was another community process with their growth policy. So I can see that being a document that they'll highlight as well and kind of at least look at to say, hey, what were they thinking in 2014 of what our priorities should be? And this is hopefully, that's kind of like a pie in the sky document. This is getting more down to the nuts and bolts and how do we implement stuff? Have our priorities changed? And
Is it typically done every 7 years or more frequently?
I don't know. That would be a question for Wayne.
10.
So.
And this is an opportunity for the public to get involved. Hopefully they do.
Yeah, because the more involvement we had, the better perspective, the more perspectives we have, the more, working together, then if we're all, work together on this plan, then we all have together where we want to go.
I would say the growth pressures that you're being faced with right now, you are doing this at the perfect time.
Thank you.
Hey, any other questions?
Okay, John, you're up.
John,
No.
What's your cue? What's your main line?
this is your cue.
Darn. Move to adjourn.
Get a second.
A second.
Okay, John,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Corey,
All right,
thank you. Thank you, everyone.
thanks.
I like these short meetings. I'm able to stay awake.
Do you want us to restock our
Nikki,
infected chairs?
a copy of that stuff.
Do you like what you heard tonight?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and grab that one off of that table and I'll copy another one for commissioners.
We should have given that to you at the start.
Thank you.
I
That's
didn't
okay.
realize they were sitting there.
Miss Dean,
I looked at them and didn't think of anything
You like
about it
what you heard
until he started talking.
Ginger, do you want us to
Yeah, I'm
restock
not in charge
our
of